Now our final speaker is Khalid Mamour. Khalid is a Christian Palestinian Canadian who was forced to flee from his hometown, Nazareth, in 1948. He is one of the founders of the Canadian Arab Federation back in 1967 and has served as its president, I think, several times over the years. Khalid is also a former member of the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada. I've had the pleasure of learning and working in solidarity with Khalid on many projects over the last few years, be it on some of the charity work that we've already spoken about, or illegal Israeli military recruiting and other projects. We welcome Khalid. Khalid.
Thank you, Karen, for your commitment to justice, which has been unbelievable. And I'm glad to meet Lubna and Haidar and my old friend Hanna from many years ago. I would like to start by acknowledging that the city of Richmond Hill, on which I reside, is the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit River, of the Credit First Nation and the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, and is part of the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and the Huron-Wendat. As an indigenous Palestinian Semite, whose people have been denied the right to self-determination for more than 100 years, I would like to take this opportunity to commit myself to the struggle against the systems of oppression that have dispossessed our indigenous peoples in Canada of their lands and denied them their rights to self-determination for 500 years. And this explains why Canada has been outrageous in its support of this new settler colonial entity, which was implanted by the British in Palestine since 1917. My family originates from Nazareth, and they've lived there for centuries. However, in 1946, me and my elder brother were sent to Haifa to a private school to study, and we were looked after by my grandmother, who's from Haifa. And that's when the Zionist plan was getting ready to implement its target of expelling the Palestinians. So in late 1947, the Haganah started its campaign in Haifa to force as many Palestinian Arabs to leave. At that time, the population in Haifa had 70,000 Arabs. By the end of 1948, only 2,000 had remained. Most 68,000 were either injured, killed, or forced to flee to neighboring towns or to neighboring countries. And in our case, we had to take a taxi to the border with Lebanon, and the Lebanese border were closed, contrary to what the Zionists have always promoted, that it was the Arab countries that told the Palestinian refugees come, and that's why we left. The borders were closed, so we had to find a farmer who had donkeys, who took us up the mountains, crossed illegally into Lebanon, and that's how we ended up in Lebanon. The Lebanese state didn't want the refugees to leave their country. And we thought we would spend a few months there with my grandmother's sister, who was married to a Lebanese. But after more than 6 months, after the declaration of the State of Israel and the realization that they were not going to implement the resolution 194 calling for the return of the refugees, we moved into a village in Lebanon, Brummana, and that's where we stayed.